So earlier, I was thinking about finding love. Well, the concept of finding love. I realized something about myself, and that's I'm 28 years old. I'm almost 29. And I have yet to find a partner. And that's something I've wanted since I was very young 10, 9, 8, somewhere in there. And part of what I realized was that I'm trying to figure out how to explain this vocally because I know how it feels in my head and my heart, but I don't know how to actually put it into words. So let me try my best here. I realized not only am I getting close to 30, it's not totally that I'm worried about not finding a life partner till I'm 35, 40, 45, even later in life than that if I live that long. It's more about when I find that partner, if I find that partner, I'm going to love her like crazy. I'm going to have so much love to give, and it's going to break my heart. And it's breaking my heart now, thinking about it, that I won't have as many years with this person that I love, that I show my love to her and to others about her. I won't have those extra years I could have had. Let's say I get married 10 years from now. I'm 38 years old. I just spent from the time I was, let's say mid 20s, or even 28. Let's start there. That's 10 to 15 years of time with this person I love and want to be around as much as possible that I won't have with them. And that's like such a deep emotional emotional feeling to process. And I realized that's like a huge portion of why it hurts me that I'm still single at my age. It's not just because everyone I know who's my age has had either multiple relationships or been married or is married and has kids and has the family life that everyone dreams about. It's not that I feel like I'm behind because of that. It's because I feel like if when I find that for myself, there's so much time that'll be gone by then. If I went into town tomorrow and hit it off with some girl and we just connect and we fall in love and we are like, you know what, let's be long term partners or let's get married, like a year or two from now. I'm still missing time. That's still time that's gone. That's still the past 8, 10 years of my life that I didn't know this person, that I didn't get to spend with my favorite person, with the person that I love, that I'm willing to die for, that I'm willing to live through life's worst moments for. In a way, years are a lot of time, and in another way, they aren't because they go so fast. Some of it's situational too, but in this situation, that's 10 years. That's a lot of time. We don't know how much time we have moving forward. So, in the case of I find a girl tomorrow and we spend the rest of our life together, the rest of our life together could be 2 years and we could both die in a car accident, or one of us could get cancer, or one of us could leave the other one, or cheat, or some freak accident could happen like a plane crash or, a tree branch falling out of the sky. You don't know. So we don't know how much time we have in the future, but we know how much time we had in the past. And it hit me today. It really did. If I woke up tomorrow, if I found this girl of my dreams, if we hit it off, if we decide to be together long term, permanently, that's 8, 10, 12 years of my life that I could have known this person, that I could have been with this person, that I just won't have. That's just gone forever. I can't tap back into it. I can't buy it. It's gone. And it's a sobering thought. And every second that ticks by, every minute, every hour is a second, is a minute, is an hour that I won't get back with my future love. That's like so annoying. That's so frustrating. That's so difficult. And I think this is part of the reason why I struggle with depression and anxiety and things of that nature, because I think so deeply about things. And when things like this just randomly reveal themselves to me, it like puts me in this state of shock, this state of like existential crisis almost. Like, I don't even know how to fully explain it, but this impacts me deeply to my core. Like, I feel this in my heart, I feel this in my mind. And unfortunately, there's not much I can do to change it. And then I get stuck with the phrase, well, it is what it is. You know, time will tell. Things will work out. But will it? I don't know. The past year of my life was very difficult. Honestly, the past 10 years of my life was very difficult. But the past year, I went through a lot of stuff. Very difficult and toxic work environment. Spending a lot of time at work, just burnt out physically, emotionally, mentally. Then getting fired from that toxic work environment, which has its blessings, but also caused a lot of other issues. I've lost people that I cared about that are still alive that I just can't see, or at least can't see on a normal basis. I worked multiple jobs. I finally got a full-time job, but it's excessively physical, which is very difficult on my back. Even though my back is doing a lot better than it was years ago, but still, like, it's exhausting. There's just been a lot of stuff. Add on loneliness and varying degrees and intensity of depression and anxiety. It's been difficult. Anyhow, the quote that I lived by for the last year was, "Do your best, leave the rest. It will all come right someday or night," by Anna Sewell, or Sewell. I think it's Sewell. Sewell. Sewell, I think. It's from her book Black Beauty. And it's in the movie as well. Anyhow, that's what I live by, and it helps. It helps in the moment to just say that to myself, like, just give it time. Things will work out. Just as long as I do my best, as long as I try the hardest I can. But when I start thinking about that too deeply, I'm like, will it though? Will it all turn out right someday or some night? Because we live in a world where it's a real world and things don't always work out well. There's a lot of bad, there's a lot of evil, there's a lot of calamity and destruction, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. And we all go through it, and some go through it more than others, but it doesn't always get better. So, in a way, I feel like I'm lying to myself, telling myself it's going to get better. It will, it will, it will. But then I've had moments with that saying, with that thought process in the past year, where it takes a little bit longer than I am like willing to go, but it does start to figure itself out. Not the way I wanted to, not the way I hoped or planned it to, but it does start working itself out a bit. So I'm constantly torn in this phase of, will it get better? Won't it? It will get better. The quote says it'll get better. Focus on the quote. It's just a quote. It's just a book written by another flawed human. It's not totally true. But maybe it is, though. I'm constantly torn between those two thought processes. So then throw in the thought process of, what I had today, this revelation of finding the love of my life, us being together, and realizing I have a bunch of time that's gone that I could have spent with this person. And it's difficult. It's difficult to choose between those three things and which one is right. Maybe they're all right. Maybe they're all wrong. Maybe there's portions of truth to all three. I don't know. I'm not really sure the tangent I was going on. See, this is the problem with having a deep thinking mind, with having a creative mind. You start to think too far about things. And things are like revealed to you almost through your thought process, through your creativity. And it shocks you. And then you're like, whoa. And then you start thinking about it more. And then it leads to another tangent, another thought process, another, well, if that's how it is, then what about this? And what about that? And is there a possibility this could happen? And it just like builds on itself into this just labyrinth of insanity. You can't find your way out. You can't find your way about the inside. You can't find a place of peace and rest. It just builds and builds. And you're trapped. That's the bad side of deep thinking and creativity, or at least one of the bad sides of it. Of course, there's good sides of it, and there's greatness that comes from it. But there's a bad side that I don't think gets talked about that much. So, how do you snap out of it? How do you get out of the thought process of constantly being in this labyrinth of deep thinking and creativity that just builds and becomes almost destructive to an extent? How do you snap out of it? You start just throwing it to the side. You push it down, you push it away. You distract yourself with other things, with music, with movies, with reading, with, if you have friends, being with friends, scrolling social media. Just you distract yourself with whatever you can find that works. But then, being a deep thinker, you start thinking, is this good for me? Is this actually going to affect me negatively? I'm a deep thinker. I'm a I'm a creative person for a reason. I should not push that down. I should not stifle that. I should not set that aside. I should not ignore that and distract myself from that. You're conflicted between those things. And then you realize, if I don't distract myself, if I don't ignore it, if I don't push it down, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to sink into a depression, or I'm going to have a panic attack or an anxiety attack, or I'm going to have sleepless nights because I can't finish this piece of art I want to, and it's driving me crazy. Or I can't stop thinking about this new revelation that came to me, or whatever. And so you have to decide, do I sacrifice some of that so that I can be more stable? Or do I give in fully to it because I might discover something great? I might create something great. I might have something revealed to me that is life changing for myself or for someone else. I can share it with somebody else. So you're torn between these two things. I think a lot of us, most of us, realize that if we are going to make it in the way society is, having jobs, shopping, being out in the general public, having friendships, stuff like that, that we do have to give in and distract ourselves and push down the deep thoughts and the creativity and set those things aside. Because if we don't, we won't we won't make it in society. We won't make it in the quote unquote real world. You look at so many famous inventors or artists, Van Gogh being a great example, or Tesla, another good example. These men who struggled so deeply with their creativity and their mental revelations and their deep thoughts, and they became very, very ill physically, mentally, emotionally, societally, because they just couldn't not give in to their art, give in to their creativity, give in to their deep thinking, their processing of things. They couldn't push it away. They couldn't ignore it any longer. They struggled greatly inside. They struggled in ways a lot of people won't ever know or ever be able to even relate to. So, for a lot of us who are on a similar path, have a creative mind, are deep thinkers, etc., a lot of us choose to push that down, push that aside. And sometimes we do it too far. Sometimes we do it for too long. Sometimes we distract ourselves with too much, with the wrong things, and that becomes damaging. I think it's almost like everything comes down to a balancing act. Don't lean too much one way, don't lean too much the other way. Because if you do, you'll fall into chaos, self destruction, depression, anxiety, panic, sleeplessness, insomnia. But if you fall the other way, you lose all those great qualities about who you are as an individual. It's a fine balancing act. Life is a fine balancing act. Most of us don't do a very good job being on that high wire. And that's not fully our fault. Yeah, we play a part in it. Some of us aren't trained as well to walk on that high wire. Some of us were never trained at all to walk on that high wire. Some of us have great training, but we've gotten hurt along the way. So now our body doesn't work well enough to balance itself. Some things are within our control and some things aren't. Life is a fine balancing act, not a high wire. And a lot of the time, there is no safety net. There's no cable attached to you. You kind of just given a stick, given a pole, and said, hey, it's your turn. You're up next. Get a high wire. Good luck. And then you do your best not to fall into the worst side of things on one side, but not to fall into what most would consider the good side of things on the other side, which might be good temporarily, which might help our mentality, help our emotional process, but it's going to destroy our creativity and our deep thinking. So it's a fine balancing act. So yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to share. Just an inside look into the ramblings of my mind, of a deep thinker, of a creative person. And I'll probably edit this down a little bit, but still, this video is almost 30 minutes long just by a few questions, just by a few revelations, just by a few minor discussions on minor, deep topics, deep thinking. So imagine what it's like to live in a brain that wants to do that all the time, tries to do that all the time, but you push it away. You scroll, you listen, you distract yourself, but it's still there for the time being. And then you have moments where it comes out, where you have that revelation. And that just brings us full circle back to what that revelation was, which was, I'm not going to have time. I'm not going to have enough time with the person if I find them, if we get married, if we are long term partners. I'm not going to have the time that I want with them because it's already gone. And it's not coming back. So that's difficult to think about. It's difficult to handle. But yeah, that's an inside look into my head. That's an inside look into my heart and the chaos, the creativity, the darkness that deep thoughts, deep thinking brings. I hope you found this interesting. I usually don't make videos like this. If you stuck around to watch or listen, I appreciate it. I hope somehow this affected you in a good way, or at least in a way that made you realize, wow, there are other people like me. Or, wow, I can't relate, but this is very interesting, and I'm going to try to understand people a little bit more. So I hope something positive comes from this. Anyhow, thanks for watching. My name is Aaron. If you like this video, give it a like, give it a share if you feel like it. Leave a comment below on your thoughts, whether they're deep thoughts or not, whether they're thoughts about what I talked about a revelation that's come to you, about something even completely different. It doesn't matter. If you'd like to comment, I'd be very interested in reading your comments. I'm going to distract myself from my deep thinking for a little while and try to get some stuff done. Alright, my name is Aaron. Thanks for watching, and I hope you come back and see me in another video.